Scott just got out of prison. And what's the first thing he does? Smuggle himself into Colombia. Inside a giant rusty box at the back of a dying truck. Yeah, that's right. No plane ticket, no passport, just pure action hero logic. The tension starts immediately.
Where's the money?
The truck driver wants more money, waving a knife like he's auditioning for a low-budget slasher. Scott's like,
"You've already been paid.
"Man, I already paid you." But of course, another genius appears with a wrench, because two idiots are always better than one. They try to extort him, and in less than 10 seconds, both are eating dust. The driver gets knocked out cold. The other one gets wrecked so bad he's probably reconsidering life. Scott's got a promise to keep. To a dead woman, his old love. He swore he'd rescue her daughter from her father, a big-shot Colombian gangster named Vicente. He's rich, powerful, and apparently a loving dad. At least until someone kidnaps his daughter. Naturally, Scott sneaks into the city and starts following the girl, Elisa. He watches her leave home with 2 bodyguards every morning, heading to school like a protected princess. One day, he hides his face with a scarf, waits at a red light, and pretends to be a windshield washer. When the driver ignores him, Scott smashes the side mirror. The guards get out. 30 seconds later, both are out cold. He grabs Elisa, tosses her into the trunk, and drives away. Just a normal day in the life of a morally confused hero. Vicente loses it. He blames his own guards for opening the door and beats them senseless with a baseball bat. Then he puts a huge bounty on Scott's head. The entire criminal world now wants a piece of him. And guess who shows up? El Corvo, the real psycho of the movie. Shiny head, iron hand, zero mercy. This guy murders a bartender because he didn't like the cake. When the cops show up, he kills them too, because he just doesn't care. El Corvo is what happens when the Terminator decides to freelance.
All right, calm down. Stop running, okay?
Scott tries to talk to Elisa, tells her he's a friend of her mother, and shows her an old photo, but she's not buying it. He gives her his gun to earn her trust, except the bullets are blanks. She almost shoots him, misses, and realizes he tricked her. Let's just say she's not impressed.
Oh, I see! You put an empty shell in the mag!
At a gas station, she escapes, and Scott runs into a bunch of wannabe tough guys. He keeps yelling, "Back off! Don't!" basically begging for a peaceful resolution. But these stupids clearly skipped English class. So, Scott sighs, hits them, and proceeds to politely educate them one by one. Then he catches Elisa again just as she's trying to call her dad. She's furious, kicking, yelling, "My father will find you!" And Scott finally snaps and screams back, "I am your father," which, let's be honest, hits harder than a Darth Vader reveal. Elisa just stares and says,
I'm hungry.
Because priorities. Scott takes Elisa to a restaurant, finally opening up.
Elisa.
He tells her he spent 15 years in prison, couldn't come for her sooner, and believes Vicente killed her mother.
Why will you say that? You're a liar.
Elisa freaks out, but before they can process emotions, gangsters show up. Scott turns back into Boyka mode, kicking, punching, flipping, breaking bones like he's running a free MMA seminar. He wins, of course, but the bad guys kidnap Elisa again. The gang leader calls Vicente. "We got your daughter. Bring the money." But Eliza starts asking her father questions about Scott, about her mom. And Vincente freezes on the phone like someone just exposed his browser history. And just when things couldn't get any worse, guess who shows up? That's right, El Corvo, the bald psycho with a metal hand and zero chill, wiping out the gang with military precision. He walks into the bad guy's hideout like he owns the place, shoots everyone with the calm energy of a man ordering coffee, and starts punching people so hard, the sound department probably got overtime pay. At one point, he literally pulls a Terminator move. Just when he's about to grab the girl, boom! Scott Adkins spawns out of thin air like a downloadable DLC character. The two of them face off, and oh boy, this is the part where Scott activates his inner Boyka mode. El Corvo's metal arm basically says, "Nice try, human." One punch later, Scott's kissing the floor while El Corvo goes after the girl. But wait, Scott shows up again, this time crashing down from the second floor with El Corvo, landing on a car roof like it's a budget Fast and Furious stunt. Then comes the gang boss, machine gun in hand, screaming like a man who just found out his Netflix subscription expired. He sprays bullets everywhere until he runs out of ammo. El Corvo politely helps him by putting him out of his misery. Outside, another round of chaos. Scott's getting punched into next week. Until Elisa, our newly promoted action sidekick, drives in and literally runs over Mr. Metal Arm. The two escape on foot because apparently the car didn't survive that heroic moment. Later, Scott gives Elisa some money for new clothes because, you know, priorities, and finally tells her the truth. Me, your mom, and Vincente, we were bank robbers. Turns out Vincente pulled the ultimate betrayal, stole the money, stole the girl, and threw Scott in jail. Dude basically said, "Why ruin one life when I can ruin two?" Years later, Elisa's mom visited Scott in prison like, "Yeah, my bad. Also, if I mysteriously die, go find our daughter." And now, here we are. One prison sentence, one kidnapping, and about 50 broken ribs later, fulfilling that promise. Elisa tries to run because apparently being protected by a professional killer isn't her vibe. And she peels out like she's auditioning for Fast and Furious Teen Edition. El Corvo hunts her down in the yellow sports car. Scott joins the chase, firing at him, but neither of them can shoot straight. In the chaos, Corvo grabs Elisa again, ties her up, and Scott's forced to surrender to save her. Corvo ties both of them, beats Scott senseless, and demands to know who he is. Scott stays silent. Elisa finally breaks, telling him everything to protect Scott. Corvo knocks him out with one metal punch, ties him to a tree, and calls Vincente. Vincente shows up armed, ready to finish the job, but instead of killing Scott, he frees him. Now they both need to save Elisa. Corvo drags Elisa into an abandoned factory, chains her to a conveyor belt, and turns on the machine. The belt slowly pulls her toward a giant industrial rock shredder, because subtlety is for people with hair. Vincente tries to stop it, fails miserably. Scott shows up, fights Corvo again, round 3. Every punch lands like thunder. Every kick feels like someone's spine leaving the chat. Corvo slashes Scott with the knife hidden in his iron arm. Scott bleeds, runs. Meanwhile, Vincente nearly considers cutting off his daughter's hand to save her. The fight goes on. Scott can't overpower Corvo, but he won't give up. They crash through metal platforms, and up on the conveyor, Corvo corners him again, beating him down until he's half dead. Vincente begs for his daughter's life. Vincente finally admits it. He paid Corvo years ago to kill Elisa's mother. Then Karma shows up in the form of a diamond necklace, the same one from the old bank heists Scott, Vincente, and Elisa's mom used to pull. Corvo hesitates for 1 second, and that's all it takes. Scott lunges, Vincente shoots, and both men tumble off the platform together. Scott survives, because of course, he's Scott Adkins. El Corvo? Let's just say we will find out in Diablo 2.